Hi, everybody. This is Fiona McEntee here, immigration attorney. I think I should be live. Hopefully I'm live on Facebook. And I'm trying to, if you bear with me while I try and get all this sorted, I'm going to actually try and go live on Instagram as well. The wonders of technology. Trying to get all this sorted. Just bear with me while I confirm that the stream is live on our Facebook page. Okay, I think we're probably live. Yeah, it seems like we're live. So let me see if I can. I have so many different videos going. So hopefully, anyway, you guys can see me. I'm trying to do StreamYard, Facebook, Instagram, lots of different lives here. So adding to Instagram. Hopefully this will go live as well. Let me see if this is working. I'm going to share some good immigration updates as well. So hopefully this works. Thanks for your patience. Okay, live on Instagram as well. Hi, everybody. Hi, Facebook, StreamYard, lots of different things happening here. So yeah, anyway, welcome to First Fridays with Fiona. I am an immigration attorney. I'm from Dublin, Ireland originally. I've been in the US for, like 15, 16 years. And I have been practicing immigration law exclusively for my career, which is 13 plus years at this stage. Although the past 4 years has probably seemed like a lifetime for many of us. Hi, everybody. I can see people jumping in on Instagram. Hi, welcome to First Fridays with Fiona. Hard to believe that it's May already and we're still dealing with these travel bans. One thing that I wanted to kind of chat about is that I've been getting so many questions on the travel bans, understandably so. I mean, I have the questions myself, given that they're impacting a lot of my family, friends, tons of clients. So I'm hopefully going to address some of your questions today. I did ask for questions ahead of time through the Instagram Ask Me a Question little kind of sticker that I could add. So I have a lot of questions and I'm hopefully going to get to some of them. Just like a huge disclaimer caveat, I am an attorney, but I'm not your attorney unless you're my client, and then I am your lawyer, but this is not the forum for me giving you specific advice. So don't rely on anything that you see here or that you hear today as being legal advice specific to your situation. You know, I'm happy to give you some general info, but a lot of these questions do require an individual analysis. So please just keep that in mind. It's really in your interest to get some specific advice in relation to your situation. Lots of people jumping in. Hi, everybody. Welcome to First Fridays. I have the Instagram up here. I feel like I'm very tech savvy with the Instagram and StreamYard here on my computer. So it's all go. If you guys want to, I think if you ask questions in the comments, I'll try and see them. Just know as well that everything is public if you're asking questions. So please don't put anything confidential in there. On Facebook event, I can also see the comments, I think, as well. So I'll try to get to as many as I can. Otherwise, I did get tons of questions ahead of time through the Instagram question little sticker thing. So I'm going to go through and answer some of those questions. So let's get started on some of these. Okay, so a lot of these are related to the travel ban, and again, I can completely relate. So the first person is asking when the travel ban will end, please. And this person is an L1, L2 status, and she really wants to go to see, he or she wants to go see their parents who are in Brazil. So this, I guess, whether they're in Brazil or whether they're in one of the other travel ban countries, like India, or has just been added to the list, but Ireland has been on it for a long time, as is the UK, the Schengen region of Europe. So this is the remaining travel ban from the Trump era. There were 3 travel bans that were put into place. One was related to new green cards. One was related to, Emma, I see your question there. I'll definitely address that. One was related to green cards. One was related to the issuance of new visas. And the other was this like kind of regional COVID bans, as we call it. So the regional COVID bans are the ones that are still in existence, and they're not a nationality based ban. So meaning it's not just because you're Irish or just because you're Brazilian. It's where have you been prior to wanting to enter the US. So, travel is a complicated, analysis at any time really, but especially during a global pandemic with a lot of these travel restrictions. It's just, if you take anything away from this, take away that you need to really, really thoroughly assess your travel situation ahead of time, ideally ahead of leaving the US if you're here, or if you're abroad, before you embark on booking any type of flight or any type of travel arrangements. You need to run this by an immigration attorney, not on a Facebook Live, but through like a specific, whether consultation or your existing attorney, to get some advice. So the COVID travel bans apply, like I said, to those people in those, if you're in one of those countries coming into the US. There are certain exceptions to the bans. So straight away, if you're the spouse of a US citizen, you can be exempt from these travel bans. If you're the parent of a minor US citizen children, so not like my parents, I'm a naturalized US citizen, a small child, like under 21, unmarried under 21. In those scenarios, you're exempt from those travel bans. But if you are subject to them, you are going to have an issue coming back directly from one of those countries, unless you can get a waiver to the travel ban. So we've been actually preparing people. We've been preparing and filing national interest waivers. So national interest exception waivers, NIE, you might have heard the term. So that's what that refers to, NIE waivers. For people, and depending on where they are and kind of what their travel plans look like, that application process can be different depending on just the specifics of the case. But it is possible to potentially apply for one of these waivers if we can show that your entry is in the national interest. And that would be, it could be something to do with, the type of work that you're doing. You're working in like technology, that's either boosting the economy or some type of, it can be broader than people think. So, just because you don't have to be a doctor helping people with COVID to get one of these national interest exemption waivers, but at the same time, they're obviously not guaranteed, and it is a pretty thorough application that has to be prepared and filed. And I will say that not all consulates are issuing them equally. So that's where, chatting to an attorney who's dealing with these would be in your interest, because there are certain kind of certain posts are more amenable to them than others. So just, it definitely requires some strategy there. So anyway, so if you're not if you're subject to the travel bans and you've been in one of those countries, and so you're not exempt and you can't get a waiver, you need to look at whether you're going to quarantine in a third country, before coming into the US. And so you can potentially do that for 2 weeks if the country's not on the banned list. But again, it just depends on your situation. And I think above all this, the very first thing you need to think about when you're coming back to the US or trying to enter the US is, what are you trying to come in on? So do you have a visa in your passport? Is that visa valid? If not, are you trying to come in on ESTA? Do you have valid ESTA authorization? So there's a lot of analysis that goes into it. But back to that question that I think it was Emma asked. Emma says, can you travel on an E2 visa back to the States? Okay, so then the first thing you're thinking, is your E2 visa valid? Where are you going to be when you travel outside the US? Like, where are you going? There are two E2 visa holders in Ireland that are stuck and that are subject to the ban. And if they're not, so if they're subject to the ban, are you potentially able to get a national interest exemption, so an NIE waiver? We've helped some E2 visa holders with those. Or else if you're not able to get one of those, are you potentially going to quarantine in a country for 2 weeks prior to coming into the US? So that is another thing that you should think about. So again, this kind of applies across the board. So this would also apply to this person who is from Brazil and wants to go back to see her parents who are 89 years old, his or her parents. And I know how that feels myself, to want to visit your parents. I am a naturalized US citizen, but I understand. And so but if you go to Brazil, you're going to be subject to the travel ban. And so that kind of analysis is going to apply to you as well. So I would just think very long and hard before anybody leaves the US, just to be extra cautious. Okay, so who else? Hi, everybody. Great to see you all joining in. Somebody is saying, are there any plans? Okay, this question came in a lot. Are there any plans to change the restrictions associated with the travel bans for those vaccinated? I would say this is the hottest topic of conversation amongst our immigration lawyer bar association, is, trying to see, is there like going to be some type of allowances made for vaccinated people. So as of now, no. As of now, that has the travel bans are in place. They have not been adjusted. The Biden administration did say they were going to modify them every month, but we haven't seen that. And so we are definitely pushing to see if we can get some updates and things like that. But as of now, we haven't had any of those. So the bans are there as they were. So there's no exceptions for vaccinated people. We hope that in the future it will turn into a situation where if you're vaccinated and you show the negative test, that you will be permitted to enter, and that the bans will be adjusted to accommodate that. But maybe that's wishful thinking on our behalf. It has not been confirmed. There were, what I would think is actually, to be honest, irresponsible reporting about this. People got everybody's hopes up, excuse me, while I drink from my cup. Cade an scale, one of my amazing clients sent me over this cup all the way from Ireland. So for those of you who are not Irish, it means what's the story. So it was so nice from our amazing client. You know who you are if you're on. Thank you for that and for the lovely bits that she sent us. But so I mean, we hope that that's how it's going to go with the vaccine, but as of now, the bans are there, and the reports of them being lifted in May, we have not heard anything like that. I'm not sure where that rumor was started. People had, there was people commenting on that, saying it was likely to happen in May. Now, it could happen, but we haven't heard that it's going to happen. I'm the chair of AILA, which is the American Immigration Lawyers Association. That's the bar association with 15,000 immigration attorneys nationwide. And I am the chair of the Media and Advocacy Committee for that bar organization. So I would say that our committee is probably some of the most active immigration attorneys in media and in advocacy in the US for American immigration attorneys. So we have not heard of anything about that. So I'm not sure where those rumors were started, some unconfirmed person, but there's nothing that we have seen. Like I said, if something happens, great, but I think it is irresponsible to say that things are happening when we just don't know what is happening. We hope that things will change, but we just don't know, and we don't have any reports or any type of confirmation that is going to happen. So I just think it's hard to get people's hopes up like that, because I know there's friends of mine whose want their parents to come here for communions, and people wanting to go home to see people. And there's people who have O1 visas who've been stuck here for like so many people have been stuck here for a long time. So I just don't want to get people's hopes up, and I want to be giving you guys accurate news and accurate reports. Okay, someone said E2 appointment has been cancelled in Dublin. Embassy been waiting since August 2020. Do I think E2s will be considered a priority for non-immigrant visa appointments? I mean, to be honest, it's pretty disappointing what's happening at embassies and consulates abroad. I think the lack of, I understand, we're sympathetic to the fact that there's a pandemic, but we're obviously all having to do our jobs in a modified manner. And I think that there are things that embassies can do to really try and help the situation along. Whether it's increasing, one of the suggestions that we've had is, could you do like video interviews for some of these visa appointments? Everybody else has been functioning through Zoom in ways that you wouldn't, like doctors are doing checkups through Zoom. We're all doing everything through Zoom and all these other sorts of technology things. So, I think we need to start looking at how are we going to get through this massive backlog of visa appointments, including, as somebody said, all those E2 visas. E2s are vital, I think, to the economic recovery of the US. The E2 is the investor visa, and so it allows people who are setting up companies to get, who are setting up companies in the US that are foreign owned from certain countries to come in and get a visa and bring staff with them. And I think that the small, they're not just small businesses, but so a lot of them are done by small to medium-sized businesses, and they are the backbone of any economic recovery. And so we need to be prioritizing those. People want to come to America. They want to invest their money in America, and we need to help them do that. So if you see me looking over, I'm looking at the Instagram stream here. I also have my laptop here, and I'm doing a StreamYard through that. So there's loads of things going on, but if you see me looking over and off, that's what I'm looking at. I also have a list of questions on my laptop that people sent in. Okay, oh, you're welcome for answering. Yeah, you're welcome, Emma. Okay, someone's asking, what countries can you travel to quarantine for 2 weeks before flying to New York if you're flying in from Ireland? Okay, so I would say, first off, what are you trying to enter the US on? Do you have a valid visa? Are you trying to come in on ESTA? Know that ESTA is never guaranteed, and either is your entry on a visa. So I would say, instead of saying like what countries can you go to, it's like what countries are on the travel ban list. Okay, and so you look at those, and like if every other country is not on those lists. So I obviously not going to kind of ream off an exhaustive list, but like the Schengen region are on the list. The Ireland, the UK, Brazil, India, as of just recently. So look at the countries that are on the travel ban list and look at the ones that are not. People have been going to the likes of Mexico, and people have been going to Turkey. Look, another kind of important thing to know is that you could go to a country and then it could end up on the travel ban list. So, like Turkey is not on the list at the moment, but the rates are extremely high. So there's a chance that, any of these bans can be modified. Additional countries can be added to the list at any time. So, you just need to keep that in mind, that if you're planning on, embarking on such a thing as like quarantining in a country for 2 weeks, spending the money to get the flights, to do all those things, hotel in whatever country for at least a few weeks, I think you should get a consultation to make sure that your travel will fit in. Nobody can guarantee that you're going to get in. However, you might want to run that situation by an attorney just to get specific advice. So yeah, especially if you're flying in on ESTA, it's like, when do you book travel is important. Is your ESTA valid? What's your purpose of your ESTA trips? All these kinds of things that you'd have to think about. So I think it would make sense for you to run that by an immigration attorney before booking travel. Okay, so just to recap, the travel ban, the COVID regional travel ban is very much still a thing. It has not been modified to accommodate people who are vaccinated. Getting the negative test is a separate thing. So that's a separate thing that's required for all people, regardless of, citizenship, people who are permitted to travel, they all need those COVID test results. And we hope that in the future, these bans will be modified or changed to accommodate vaccinated people, vaccinated travelers who would otherwise be subject to them, but that has not happened as of yet. Any kind of unconfirmed reports are really just that, they're unconfirmed, and we don't have any verifiable information to base that off. So, okay, someone's asking about what type of documentation for a national interest waiver. So this, I assume, is the NIE waiver, which is the national interest exemption waiver for the travel ban. So it depends on what type of job you're doing or what you're doing. We've had people who are coming in pharmaceutical industry and technology industry, where we work with them to provide a letter from the employer, from the individual themselves, maybe from clients or, economic departments in this state, depending on what the specifics are. So we need to show that you're giving critical support to one of these essential industries. And it is broad insofar as what's covered by the industry. But we do need to show that strong nexus that what you're going to be doing is really in the interest of the US, and that it's that essential support, and that it's not something that you could do remotely, like executive meetings or things like that. So we have been successful in getting some of these approved. You do need to plan. It takes a while to get them prepared and filed and then decided, but it's something that is potentially an option for people. So I wouldn't rule it out altogether, but it would need to be analysed to see whether or not your case fits in that. But I have been doing a lot of those NIEs for clients and pretty successfully. But again, it just depends on your situation. There's some that I just don't know that they would even, not everybody's going to have a chance at getting one of these waivers. Okay. Someone's asking update on the countries on the travel ban list. So just the same, and then except for India was added to the list. Okay, someone asked, is the national interest exemption something you physically apply for / obtain? So that's a good question. It is actually it depends on whether you need a visa with your national interest exception or whether you have the valid visa and you just need the national interest, the NIE waiver. So let's assume you have a valid E2 visa in your passport and you want to travel on that, but you've been in Ireland and you need a national interest exemption waiver, an NIE waiver. So in that scenario, it is something that we apply for either through the Department of State, which is the embassy, or through CBP in certain circumstances, which are the people at the airport. So, it is a notation that's noted, something that's noted in the system, and we get an email approving it. So you don't get actually anything in your passport if you already have that valid visa. If on the other hand, you need to get an actual visa stamp in your passport, well, then, there's a couple of things that you need to overcome. Obviously, you have to try and get the expedited visa appointment. And you will only really get that if they believe that generally only get that if they believe that you also qualify for one of these waivers if you're in a travel ban country. So that would be something that we would then apply for through the embassy. And then when you get your visa stamp, it's normally noted with saying that there is an NIE, depending on what particular ban, it'll be noted that you've been exempt for it. So what questions? Okay, some of these specific questions I'm not unfortunately going to be able to answer if it's like specifically in relation to other people's, your particular visa and stuff like that. I'm not going to be able to answer them here for your privacy and just the fact that I'm not your immigration attorney. I'm not going to be able to answer those particular questions. I'm happy to answer general questions, but not anything particular to anyone's individual situation. Somebody saying, have I come across any NIE approvals for those on ESTA in long-term relationships with the US citizen? I have not. I think that might be a tough one to get. Any personal, like non-business related cases that are not severe humanitarian situations, I think might be a tough one to get approved. But again, that's just general info. I don't know for certain, but I would imagine that would be difficult to get. Okay, so general update on travel bans. I think I've done that. Someone is saying that they're a nurse looking to nurse in the US, unsure the process. Do you need an immigration lawyer? I mean, look, immigration is very complicated. At some point, you're definitely going to need an attorney, whether it's through the company. Nurses actually are in a good spot because there are certain visas that they can get and green cards that they can get that are kind of particular for nursing. So there's also a documented shortage of nurses in the US. So you might be in a good spot to get a visa or a green card. So yeah, I would start. You can DM me or get an email our firm info@mcenteelaw.com. If anybody wants to set up a consultation, we can do that for you. That would be the best way to get in touch with us for any individual advice like that. Okay, someone's saying, am I finding that there's a delay when EADs? Okay, so this is about employment authorization documents. And they're saying, was there a delay am I noticing a delay? Yes, there's a huge delay in getting documents these are work cards after getting a green card. So there's a huge documented delay of USCIS processing time. So things are taking so much longer than they have ever done before. It's something that forms a regular part of our advocacy. We just met with all members of Congress there 2 weeks ago for Immigration Lawyers National Day of Action, and it was something that was very much on our radar about advocating for. Aoife, will this be saved as an IGTV? Hopefully, if I can figure out how to save it, I hopefully will. Oh, there's Eamon. Hi, Cleena, Orla. Hi, everybody. Thanks for jumping on. Let me just flick through and see. Just for those who are just joining, I'm giving some updates on travel bans and USCIS processing times, things like that. Okay, someone's saying a parent petitioning a child in their 30s from okay, that sounds like a very specific question. Changing interview locations. I mean, maybe, but it can be hard to change interview locations because every embassy is backlogged right now. So it's tough because you're competing with all the other people from that other country. And so certain embassies do not accept what's known as third country nationals, so meaning people not from that country. So that can be kind of hard to get. And again, we are sympathetic to the fact that there is a global pandemic. Oh, you're welcome for all the info. Welcome. We're definitely sympathetic, but at the same time, we're all doing our jobs in ways that none of us really anticipated, and we really need to start seeing more of these visa appointments. The delays and the backlogs, and just I think unwillingness to try to work. We're all trying to work together to get people into the US in a safe manner. So hopefully we'll be seeing more of that. Oh, somebody asked, how are the lawyers behind it all coping? Thanks for all your amazing work. Oh, thank you for that. Look, it's been a tough year. No doubt, it's been tough for everybody, whether it's pandemic, homeschooling, things like that. And I'm looking at some of these comments that comment on that. Yeah, it's been a tough year for everybody. I am really I just feel really supported on here, and it makes me just want to give you guys updates. I can feel the support and I can feel how much people appreciate them, and it means a lot to me. And I'm also really honestly in the same spot with my family, and I know how it feels to not be able to have people come visit you. And I am pretty lucky and fortunate to have such a vast knowledge of immigration for so many years, and to be up to date on all the media and advocacy work. It's hard, but I love my job and I love being able to help you guys. And I think even if the answers aren't always what people want, I think to have somebody to give answers that you can trust, I think means a lot to people. So it means a lot to me. And so thanks for that. That was a lovely question. And I think it's a tough job, but it's one of the most rewarding jobs ever. Okay, people keep hearing about a US-UK travel corridor that might take place. I never heard that kind of particular phrase, but again, I think it goes back to, are we going to see adjustments or modifications of this travel ban when vaccinations come in, hopefully. Okay, so somebody's saying soccer players flew through Poland, went to immigration appointment there. Yeah, we also had some people get some athletes and stuff get appointments. Different consulates are just approach things totally differently. Like, it's crazy to think, you'd think that there would be some type of uniformity, but there's not. So it has been, you really need a good attorney, I think, to be really zealous. And to my brother Ray, we work with soccer players as well, and Ray is just the most zealous advocate in terms of getting these visa appointments. Like, he is fantastic, and our team are amazing. And so you really need somebody who's there to advocate for you as much as they can, because it's definitely not easy, and it's easy to just take no for an answer. But I think, again, you can't always guarantee the result, but knowing that you have a great person in your corner makes a difference. Okay, so somebody is asking here, if you were denied a visa because of a presidential proclamation, will it affect you getting? So I would just say, like, it depends on the circumstances of the denial. Any visa denial obviously needs to be really considered properly. What were the circumstances? Was it just based on the travel ban, or was it something else? Or, what exactly happened? Was it based on one of the COVID travel bans? Is it based on a travel ban that's gone? So I would say, definitely discuss that with your attorney, because getting visas denied can impact people's ability to potentially travel on ESTA. It depends on how it's classified. There's just a lot of I think, analysis that needs to go into that. Also, keep in mind that this is really an unprecedented situation, this pandemic. So a lot of the things that we're trying to, advise on is there's no precedent in this. So we don't know, how as long as I've been practicing, and as long as most of us has been alive, we haven't really had to deal with a global pandemic like this. So there are a lot of unknowns. Like, somebody was asking me the other day about restaurants taking funding for some of these restaurant revitalization funds, and if they were immigrant owners and things like that. Is like, we don't know how these are going to be treated in the future. They're brand new programs, given just the kind of insane times that we're living in. And we hope that there will be common sense approaches to these things in the future, like visa denials. If you got a visa denied without, for no reason other than a ban, I hope that would not stand against people in the future. But I think you just would need to get some advice to see exactly what's going on. Somebody's asking, is it a case of the Department of State must approve paperwork, or, okay, that's for J1s? I'm not sure. Okay, somebody missed what I said about nursing. So nurses there's a documented shortage of nurses in the US. So from an immigration point of view, if you're a qualified nurse, now there's still hurdles that you obviously need to overcome, and licenses and things like that. But given that there is a documented labor shortage for nurses, you're kind of in a better spot there in terms of, you might have more options than most people. Okay, so right, so then let me see, I have a whole list of other questions. I want to see if I got to all them. Hopefully this is helpful to you guys. Okay, so people are saying, any inkling when the travel ban to Ireland to the US will be lifted? Oh, this person's trying to pick a new wedding date. Oh, I'm sorry. It must be hard for people who are trying to get married and plan. And I know that weddings are stressful at the best of times, but I'm sure a wedding in a pandemic, when there's international travel involved, is not easy. I wish I knew the answer to this question. I really, really, really wish I knew, or had any type of update about the travel ban. I do not. I don't. I hope that it will go the way of having vaccinated people with negative COVID tests, but we just have to wait and see what happens with that. More people. Oh, thank you. So, okay, somebody's asking about national interest waiver while you're still in the US. So look, this is complicated, and it depends on where you're going, and a lot of places require you to be, I think you'd have to contact me offline and I could discuss that with you. The national interest waivers in general require strategy. and they require an attorney who has experience with them, and I do, or maybe your existing attorney has experience with them. But we're part of like a big listserv of immigration attorneys where we have like spreadsheets and databases, and we all help each other out, and it's all very collaborative, and it's kind of real-time updates. So you should get in touch with somebody who knows about all this, because it's complicated. You essentially might get one or maybe two chances at it. It just depends. And certain posts are not good so certain consulates and embassies, I would not try going through them for a waiver, because you're just unlikely to get approved. So you might have to explore another option. And so that's kind of all I can say, really. You should get in touch with us. And if anyone wants to book a consultation with me, they can email our firm. It's info@mcenteelaw.com. We charge a flat rate for consultations up to an hour. We can either do 30 minutes or an hour consultation. And, for these specific things, you really would need to get that. Okay, let me just see what else. Diversity visa, Lotto. Okay, if you've been selected in the diversity visa, you should contact the attorneys that are pursuing a class action. There's a big lawsuit going on. Diversity visas are time sensitive, meaning they have to be issued in the government's fiscal year. So if anybody has been selected in the DV lottery, that is something that you really need to be looking at, is like, how can you try to get your case adjudicated within that time frame. So there are some attorneys doing big class actions. Curtis Morrison is one. I just gave somebody this info yesterday. Curtis Morrison, I think he's based out in DC. My friend Chuck Cook, Charles, he's also on my AILA media committee. Greg Siskind and Jeff Joseph, there's like a big group of those, and they're doing kind of class action litigation about a lot of these bans. Also, but the DV case is a big one of those. So the DV stands for diversity visa, which is also known as the green card lottery. So I would definitely get in touch with those, and I would do it sooner rather than later, because there's like time periods, and then they close them for accepting new cases under the class action. Someone's asking about the citizenship. So the citizenship fees, $7.25. It was supposed to increase, but then that was put on hold, or I can't remember if there was litigation or what happened. I think there was litigation. Oh my God, there's been so much litigation over the past 4 years, including ourselves. Have sued a couple of times, sued the Trump administration. And just because it's the Biden administration doesn't mean that they're getting let off the hook because we're Democrats, or they're Democrats. I mean, there's absolutely still litigation ongoing, and there's some areas of where we need to see and people deserve to see some drastic improvements, including the processing times, and also these, embassy appointments. Like, so many questions here are related to either processing times or bans or embassy appointments. Someone saying a teacher. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I would talk to your school about trying to see if you could get an NIE waiver if you're subject to the travel ban. So, okay, somebody's applied for an I-140 and a 485, so green card, in January 2020, and still no approval or updates. Maybe you mean 21, or I guess it depends on what category your case is in. So you're saying no updates or approval. It just depends on what category you're in. Certain I-140s cannot be premium or expedited processed. So if you're a multinational executive or manager, that might be what you are. Those processing times are long and you can't expedite them. So that could be it. Anything you should be doing, I would work with your attorney to see if they have any recommendations for you. They would be, whoever's your lawyer would know way more about your case. And so I would direct that to them. So you're a physician. Yeah, I would work with your attorney because they're going to know much more than I would. But processing delays are not uncommon. So, so I would say, see what so someone's asking, are they processing E2 visas at the moment? Are the E2 only for high level management posts? Okay. I don't want to assume that you mean at the embassy in Dublin, but maybe you do. Either way, E2 visas are either done in the US through the USCIS, or more often they're done abroad at the Department of State. So, oh, you're welcome. So I would say it's hard to get an E2 visa appointment for kind of some of the reasons I described, just the severe backlog and just, limited resources. I mean, as it was, the State Department was severely understaffed because a lot of people left under the Trump administration. Yes, you do. Okay. And so, so the people left under the Trump administration, which, who would blame them? Let's face it. And so they were already kind of understaffed. And then the pandemic hit. And then, we would just really like to see some drastic improvements in terms of how are we going to get people these visa appointments that they need that's ultimately going to help the US. So look, again, to reiterate, we're all sympathetic about the fact that there is a global pandemic. I know it must be hard for these officers working overseas as well, being away from their family. I totally empathize with that. However, we're at crisis level backlogs for all these visa appointments. We need to start taking some drastic steps to try to get people in with appointments. I mean, America needs immigrants to to grow, to prosper, needs their knowledge. Everybody who's working remotely overseas, if people are stuck, I mean, from an economic point of view, that's money that's not being spent in America as well. That's rent that's being paid abroad if people are stuck because they're working remotely over there. It's, groceries and all that kind of stuff. And I'm sure the other countries are obviously benefiting from it. But I mean, from an economic recovery, and I'm no economist, it makes sense to try to get those people back in the US. So I think that kind of brings me to the end. I've been chatting nonstop for 40 minutes. I'm going to take another sip of my coffee in my Cade an Scéal mug. I hope this was helpful. This is our first Fridays. It's hard to believe we're May 7th now, and we're still talking about travel bans. So this should be saved. Hopefully, I know someone asked me whether it'll be saved as an IGTV. I hope so. I was kind of panicking about trying to do the IG and the StreamYard and the Facebook Live and all this, but hopefully that's all good. And I think it's also going on YouTube. So lots of too many platforms. But anyway, so hopefully this has been helpful to you. We're going to try as a firm, McEntee Law Group, we're going to try and maybe have a different attorney do a Facebook Live or some type of live every Friday. So we'll alternate. I'll stick with the first Fridays, and then either Alex. Oh, you're welcome, Ronan. Hope it was helpful. Please feel free to get in touch directly if there's anything we can do to help you and the company. But we're going to have a different attorney to kind of take turns. I'll stick with my first Fridays, and then we'll supplement that with other lives. But so hopefully, anyway, you got something out of it. I hope everybody is keeping well, staying safe, feeling hopeful for the future. I am. I think we've been through the worst in so many ways. Oh my gosh, everybody is saying thank you. We're coming close to the end, but just drinking from my lovely cup that was sent over from a friend of mine, good client of ours, who probably will see this. But anyway, so look, it's been a rough year for everybody. People have just suffered immensely in terms of losses and things like that. Oh, I love the mug too. But I think we're through the worst of it. I think it's hopefully there's light at the end of the tunnel in terms of the vaccine, in terms of economic recovery, places starting to open up, and I'm hopeful for a brighter future. I do, at the same time, we need to keep the pressure on. We need to, we just expect people we all want to work together to get out of this. We want to work together to get out of these visa appointments, backlogs, and USCIS processing times. And I do think, thankfully, we're dealing with an administration that values immigration and immigrants, that attaches dignity to immigrants, which was something that was completely lacking from the previous administration. And so I think that when there is that cultural change, that from that change, the policies will flow. And so, but still, you know, people need to, the pressure needs to be on, and we'll definitely continue to do that as we always have. So I'm going to wrap up. Hopefully I will figure out a way to keep this recording and people can watch it back, and please feel free to share it. I will be back on as soon as I have any updates on any travel bans. Don't worry, people are asking me all the time about updates, and I promise you, no matter when it happens, no matter where I am, no matter what's going on, I will give you guys an update, so you can be assured of that. And yeah, I just appreciate all the support and appreciate everybody sharing all my stuff. And yeah, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to sign off, but take care, and I'll see you guys soon. You're all very welcome. Bye-bye.